This is Jen with SeductionUnleashed.com, help you unleash your best with women and beyond. And if it's your first time to this channel and you're interested in dating, relationships, self-improvement, and motivational content, start now by clicking that subscribe and bell notifications. Okay, number one, girls who complain about their ex being crazy. Now, have you ever just been on a date and you know things are going okay, or maybe things are even going well, and you're talking to the girl, you're getting to know her, and then maybe it just gets to the point where she brings up her ex on the date, and you're just sitting there like, you know, I went on this date, I got all ready, I went out, I took this bitch out, and now she's talking about her ex and complaining about her ex like I give a fuck. I don't care. Why am I even going through this right now? And as she starts complaining about her ex and maybe even saying he's crazy and whatnot, you're sitting there thinking, bitch, I don't give a f. Long story short, when something like this happens, it's just a bad sign, because in all likelihood, you know, what girl is gonna say that she did something wrong? When have you ever heard a girl say, oh yeah, it was a bad relationship, I treated him like shit and it was all my fault, or anything of the sorts? If she just goes, yeah, he was crazy, it's like, okay, well, why would you pick a partner with someone who's crazy? Is that not a testament to her character? The fact that you would be the one in this long abusive relationship with a crazy ex and all this type of shit. When girls say this, especially on a date, especially early on a date, especially if you didn't fucking ask, that's a big red flag for me. That just shows me that you a toxic bitch. Seriously, because I don't give a fuck. Why are you bringing this up? That's just telling me you just got mad issues. And if that's the case, you need to be aware of that, bro, because you might end up being that crazy ex. Step number two, girls who are incredibly jealous. This is a big problem. One of the worst problems with this step in particular is that a lot of guys, you know, we take that as a sign of loyalty, and that isn't necessarily a sign of loyalty. When a girl is super jealous, that's because she has issues deep down inside. Now, all these bitches have insecurity issues deep down inside, and they're all gonna be getting jealous from time to time. But when you deal with a girl who's incredibly jealous and incredibly needy, that shit, I just want you to know, bro, it's not indicative of her being this crazy loyal partner. That just means she's very needy and insecure. That, trust me, I know a lot of us, we make that mistake, and I'm telling you, it's a bad mistake to make. When girls are incredibly jealous, over time, I'm telling you, at first you might be like, you might be gassed a bit, your ego might be getting stroked, but to see her chasing you, to see that she cares, you know, because guys, we're not used to being chased inherently. We're the hunters, right? But the reality is, over time, that shit, it's gonna get old and it's gonna get abusive the more and more she starts to get comfortable with you, because especially if it happens early on. If it happens early on, it's gonna be a million times worse later on. So next, that goofy jealous bitch. Number three, girls who try to make you jealous. This right here is like the perfect follow-up to number two. It's an even more toxic version of number two, which is girls who try to make you jealous. In fact, many girls who will be really jealous will be the ones doing so also. This is incredibly important, because one of the factors that's a really toxic thing is the level of pettiness in a girl. You know, it actually is meaningful when you have a big fight with a girl and you see just how petty she can go, because it's important to see that part of someone, because, you know, everyone's good on the front end. Everyone's cool when their emotions are positive and everything's cool, right? But you have to see how someone acts when they're angry. How far do they go? Now, I'm moving a little bit off topic, but the point is, if girls intentionally are trying to make you jealous, that shit is horribly toxic. You don't need those type of girls around you. I don't care if she has a really pretty face, a really pretty smile, a big butt, big titties, whatever the case. If you're seeing her doing certain things that are just flat out toxic, trying to make you jealous, even with television. Like, I don't really go for, like, culturally, there's the whole chicks will be in your face and just be like, oh my god, this guy's hot, I will totally fuck him on TV. And then you're supposed to be like, oh well, I would fuck that girl. And in my opinion, that shit is corny. I don't really go for that shit. On top of that, when girls do this, they will deny everything, because they're very passive and manipulative in the way they go about things. So they'll just be like, what? No, I'm not doing anything, blah, 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 while they're sitting there trying to get under your skin, trying to tool you, especially if something like this happens early on or at any point. Matter of fact, fuck that, at any point at all. you need to seriously consider, and by consider, I mean you need to next that bitch ASAP. Step number 4, girls who don't have gratitude. I'm gonna be honest, pretty much 100% of females do not have gratitude. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why right now. One of two reasons. One, they're inherently receivers. You know, they have a vagina, they get sperm, you know, they get dudes to approach them. We go up to them, we have to lead conversations, we have to make the dates happen, we have to lead the sex, we have to initiate the sex, we have to constantly give, we have to protect, we have to give our lives, and they constantly receive. By nature, already, it's already lopsided. We get something in return by our ability to be able to lead, to make decisions, and to be the stronger of the two sexes. When it comes to dating, it seems to be very lopsided, which brings me to the second reason, which is also all of the social conditioning that we have in society, in TV, in this culture. It plays a huge role because, you know, as humans, our biggest X factors are mind and comparative to all the creatures around us. So whatever we get conditioned to, you know, if you were born in a tribal society a long time ago, or you were born in Greek Roman society, you would believe all those things from that place. You would have no other choice. You would have no other sense of references. So when girls grow up in society where they're taught basically, you know, find a good man, make sure he has this and this and this, and then that's it. Just find a good man. At the most you hear like, you know, take care of the house and cook and clean and the kids, right? But you hear shit like that. You hear shit like, what can he do for you? What does he do for you? All this type of shit. Meanwhile, as a man, what do you hear? You gotta get a good job. You gotta make sure you're good at sex. You gotta make sure you're in shape. You gotta make sure you have a house. You have everything together. You gotta make sure you're charming. You gotta make, you know what I mean? All this shit, while at the same time you gotta lead. You gotta initiate constantly. You know, when you come even, you nut and you're depleted. She can keep going. So you're constantly giving and giving and giving and giving. So you have to always make sure that females, when they're around you, that they're grateful for all of the shit that you do. You always have to remind them that, you know, you're lucky, or I don't usually do this, or whatever the case is. You have to make sure that they have gratitude for all of the shit that they do, because they're so on the other end, pretty much 99%, that you have to constantly make sure that they're grateful, whether you're in a relationship with the girl, whatever the case is. Especially that in particular, you always have to remind her, because over time, you know, when people get used to things, they just get entitled, especially girls, because like you could give everything to a girl and by the end of it, she's like, okay, now what? You know, like I have the moon and the stars and now I feel content. But now what's next? They're constantly receiving. So you have to make sure that every single step of the way you're making them feel grateful, and make sure they chase you. That's some real ass shit for you. Number 5, girls with a party lifestyle who drink a lot of alcohol. Look, dude, a lot of dudes, you know, especially guys who are really good with girls, you know, they tend to think because you're such a pimp that you could take a girl who's some party ADD chick, and, you know, because maybe she's super around you and super addicted to you, that now means that she isn't a toxic, cancerous bitch. Especially with society, you know, once people start saying, well, everyone does it, it's supposed to be cool now. But the reality is, if you're not the type of person who drinks or who parties every weekend, that's not your lifestyle, but you date someone like that, it's gonna be a bad time. 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 See, again, this goes back to the last step. Girls, again, they're receivers. And then a pretty girl too is gonna have even more entitlement. So when you take that kind of creature who's gotten everything in her life, or just constantly receive, and then they're constantly seeking more stimulation, and they have a lifestyle of seeking crazy amounts of stimulation. They have habitual toxic habits like drinking, which makes them even more emotionally volatile. This kind of combination can lead to girls that have very little character, who are just gonna dip as soon as things aren't stimulating them. And that applies to all females, honestly, inherently, deep down inside. But chicks like that, they're so fucked up already. Their conditioning is so toxic that look, I'm not trying to be a party pooper, guys. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't party and some drunk party chicks, but I'm just saying, really consider the type of girls that you have in a relationship and in your harem even. If you have a harem of girls, don't just think, okay, well, you know, I have these party ADD, fucking toxic ass bitches in my harem, but you know, I'm just fucking them, it's for the pussy. The reality is, every time you fuck, you're giving yourself to someone. You're giving your time, you're giving your energy, you're giving your nut, and you're risking your health, period. So you're not just getting pussy, okay? You're giving yourself. So you have to really consider what you surround yourself with, because over time you might end up slipping. You might end up thinking, oh, you know, this chick is pretty cool, but you're forgetting that that bitch ain't shit. Sorry to say it. So if you enjoyed that kick-ass, incredibly positive video and you want to see more on dating, relationships, self-improvement, and motivational content, start now by clicking that subscribe and bell notification so you can join that Unleash notification gang, bro. So with that being said, gentlemen, until next time, unleash your best, and remember, confidence is bred by competence.